Dr. Jayant Navrange, joining us specially from San Francisco, California in the US. We have Dr. Dilip Walke. I would also like to welcome senior member of the BMA Association, Dr. Pramod Umarji, and the founder of Balewadi Association, Dr. Deshpande. Thank you very much for being a part of our discussion today. And we are going to have a very interesting evening today. With this, I would like to invite Dr. Rajesh Deshpande to say a couple of words.
Thank you, Dr. Prax, for this fantastic webinar. And of course, welcome Dr. Jayant Navrange, sir. Good morning from California, Dr. Dilip Walke. And hope that everybody might have developed antibodies against corona. And I think now we should go ahead with Navrange sir's beautiful and informative lecture.
Thank you very much, sir. So the agenda for the evening is we are going to have Dr. Jayant Navrange open the discussion with new regulations around teleconsultation. He will also talk about some of the financial aspects that are important around teleconsultations and guidelines around the same. Dr. Dilip Walke will then discuss the practical aspects of teleconsultation, followed by a short brief, 6 to 7 minute Dr. Prax demo, and concluding remarks from Dr. Navrange. We will end the session with a Q&A session, session to discuss any questions you may have. My request to all attendees is to enter any questions you may have. You can start entering your questions and we will take them up towards the end of the session and we'll be happy to answer. I'm sure Dr. Navrange and Dr. Walke will be kind enough to answer any questions you may have, and we will answer any questions you may have regarding Dr. Prax. With this, I would like to invite Dr. Jayant Navrange. He needs no introduction. Everybody is very familiar and knows Dr. Jayant Navrange and everything that he has done. He's an esteemed member of the IMA Pune medico-legal cell and has done a lot of good work for Maharashtra, Pune, and the Medical Association. With that, I would like to invite Dr. Jayant Navrange to say a few words.
Right at the outset, thank you very much for inviting me for this nice webinar and having a meeting with my old colleagues, I should not say old, the evergreen previous colleagues. Dr. Rajesh Deshpande is a very dynamic person who was instrumental in forming this Indian Medical Association, and my colleague Dr. Pramod Umarji sir, and very, very nice to have a talk with all the people who are subscribing to Dr. Prax. I would say right in the beginning, in short, in a nutshell, because the main topic will be covered by Dr. Walke, and he will give you all the regulations and rules which are governing the total topic of teleconsultation. In a nutshell, I would say teleconsultation is very legal. It is very safe when you are using platforms like Dr. Prax, and it is 100% now having the backing of the government regulations. So the Board of Governors, that is one which is covering, which has superseded the Medical Council of India from last year. They came out after this initial stages of this pandemic, and they understood the value of teleconsultation. Till then, there were no sanction by Medical Council of India, though the teleconsultation topic has been discussed over a period of time. So they had to come out very hurriedly, but nicely, because the things were already prepared. So they came out on 22nd of March. That is, I think, 3 days prior to Mr. Narendra Modi ji referring and implementing the total lockdown across the country on 25th of March. So 22nd of March, they came out with the guidelines that first and foremost sentence to remember is that teleconsultation is very legal and there is no impediment now. So till the time MCI was saying no, even the courts did not give any sanction. But now with this Board of Governors giving the sanction to teleconsultation, practically speaking, it is available for all sorts of consultation. So in an acute emergency, for the first consultation, for the repeat consultation, for the refill of prescriptions, so think of anything, and even for the roadside emergency. So it is very much allowed. So teleconsultation has become a very legal standard for practice of medicine now, and we old timers have to now change, because people are bound to go for more and more teleconsultation, and unless we adapt to the new technology, we will be lagging behind. So gold standard remains the traditional and consultation in-person consultation. So though it cannot fully replace the this cannot replace the conventional consultation, it can replace to the extent of 80-85%. It has a definite role in patient follow-up, minor elements. This was my initial assessment. This is my previous slide. But today, with the regulations coming in force from Board of, can you go to the previous slide again? Yeah, thank you. So with the Board of Governors giving a green signal even for emergency roadside accidents and the first consultation, I have no inhibition to say that for every consultation it can be used. Far up distances and tight time constraints, advancement of technology. So these will be the advantages. It saves time, commutation is reduced, even the pollution will be reduced. It is very convenient. Documentation becomes easy and real-time and cost-effective. And the fees surely can be collected. Now here comes the financial aspect. So far, we have been giving the telephonic consultation to our people, our patients, friends, and colleagues over the telephone. And one of the things, though not often spoken, was that you are not getting rewarded for that. You are not charging these telephone consultation. So here now, with the help of all these platforms, and it has become very legal from MCI, Board of Governors, and Ayush also, that you can charge for the consultations, and you should. The reason being that you will be fully liable for whatever consultation you will be giving. Dr. Bhalke will elaborate on these aspects further, but you are 100% authorized to collect your charges, though you do not touch the patient, though you do not give a physical prescription. So these are very important aspects that consultation should be charged. Now, Vinita asked me about the financial aspects. Here, both the councils, this is a small thing which I would guard all of you, and Dr. Prax has taken rightly the care for that aspect also, that there cannot be a fee splitting. That means some advertisement is occurring on your behalf through a platform, and you are collecting the fees and you are giving. Here, there is no advertisement. As far as Dr. Prax is concerned, it is your own convenience. They are providing the platform for which you are going to pay a nominal fee. So when you are paying from out of your own consultation, there is no question of fee splitting. So this is the only thing which is not allowed by both Ayush Council as well as MCI. And this is very well taken care of by Dr. Prax, that the charges are definitely going directly into your bank account at the end of the month. And they will be charging a small token price per consultation, per whatever you are earning. So this is perfectly 100% legal. If you feel that that amount should not be deducted from your account, you increase your fee to that extent. So that is the way out. So it's a very convenient, safe, sure shot, 100% legal, completely white money and assured payment. And Dr. Prax, I am very familiar with them for more than 2 years now, that very decent and honest people, and therefore, and they have taken all the possible legal steps for ensuring that you never will come in trouble. So documentation becomes very easy. Now, this is a very important point, that this documentation remains permanent in the electronic form. So whenever you want that record, it can be provided by Dr. Prax, or you can download yourself. All this, you can put it into an audio recording also, video recording also. And now that Dr. Prax has included video consultation in this, it has given a definite edge to the weapon, that the consultation is fair proof to the extent of 85 to 90%. Proper scheduling of consultation and advice is possible. Research is facilitated and does not have the boundaries or distance. Now, for example, I'm speaking from about 16,000 kilometers away, and vitally important in lockdown conditions like this. This is not going to be the end of the time that there will be lockdown. Lockdowns will be there, and there will be pandemics like this time and again. Can we go to the next? It will be useful for curfew situations, disasters, war management, etc. also. So yeah. These are published on 25th of, it should be 22nd. I made a mistake in writing over here. It mentions that it is an optimal solution and critical. Say, initially they were completely prohibiting, and suddenly it has come to, it's an optimal solution. थोडक्यात म्हणजे निंदकाचा वंदक झालेला आहे, वंदन झालेला आहे आता. Allowed in all the conditions except surgery and invasive. Of course, this is That means you cannot give a telephonic advice. Now you do an appendix in this particular fashion, take an incision, McBurney incision, and pull out the appendix and do this bursting suture. That is not allowed. You cannot give a telephonic advice to a surgeon or somebody over there doing this surgery in some other operation theater where you are giving only a telephonic advice. That is not yet allowed. Though it is not yet allowed, because all across the globe it is getting into practice that also. So this is the thing with this only lacuna, or I would say only limitation. You can go ahead with the teleconsultation. Is there any other thing which slide mentions which I would be covering? Vinita? Yeah. So
yes, sir.
Teleconsultation, I forgot one thing, is this teleconsultation is exactly the same as in-person consultation. In the sense, 3 or 4 things. Documentation is required. So whatever advice you are giving, you just cannot say that I had given on telephone and I don't remember. So that has to be documented. So these records can be electronical records. Number 2, prescription has to be in the same format as what has been prescribed by Medical Council of India. The format is maintained by Dr. Prax platform, same way. And even by Ayush Council, they are now labeled what should be the prescription format. Number 2, a consent. Now here is a difference. Consent is not required if the consultation is initiated by the patient. That is what the MCA or Board of Governance rules say. But we have taken extra precaution that we are taking the consent electronically when you initiate the consultation. Even the patient initiates the consultation by saying that I agree. So whatever terms and conditions are there, if they say I agree and then click, and automatically the consent is given. It is so even if the Board of Governors says it can be only an implied consent, we have taken one step further and precaution further that we are taking the consent in writing. Now, what are the medications you can use? I will put it in a nutshell in a negative way, that what you cannot use. You cannot use psychotropic drugs. That is the only thing. You cannot use psychotropic drugs. So what are the psychotropic drugs and which can be addictive drugs? So these are the Schedule X narcotics, morphine and congeners, and all these psychotropic drugs are. So there is a limitation for psychiatrists. Their association should fight for it for chronic ailments, because all ailments are chronic, practically never healing ailments. So over there, the association has to take up the matter to Board of Governors and to get the sanction for that also. Prescription format is the same as MCI. So what is the thing which is missing? What is the thing which is missing? See, when we are talking about the consultation, medical advice, preventive or therapeutic, or even consultative, it is the history taking, patient identification. That will be taken care of by Dr. Prax. So who is the patient? Number 2, who is the doctor? Whether he is a registered doctor, registered medical practitioner. Number 3, whether this is a doctor-patient relationship, answer is yes. Whether you have taken a consent, answer is yes. Then the consultation begins with the history taking and the record keeping. Next is the physical examination, and this is which is missing. Now out of this, palpation, percussion, auscultation will be missing. But inspection, yes, because the person can show you the face or the part which is affected, a skin rash or a tumor and all those things. So 75% is missing as far as physical consultation is there. Next comes is the tentative or presumptive diagnosis. Then other investigations which are prescribed, you can again ask them to call you after the investigations are over, check the prescription, check the consultation, check the laboratory findings, and then you make a tentative or a treatable diagnosis or even a final diagnosis. After that, you raise a prescription or give your advice, and then the consultation is complete. The only thing and only thing remains the same, and that means you are responsible for the prescription you are giving. So do the identification of the patient, do have the consent. Number 3, have a diagnosis which you can defend in case doubt is raised. So it should be a logical diagnosis. And number 4, an appropriate prescription. So these are the 4 things which we take precaution when we are doing a in-person consultation. So same thing is to be observed in teleconsultation also. Legally, you will be liable for any wrong prescription, in the sense we have put in a very good disclaimer that when we are giving a teleconsultation, I think this is a very special precaution taken by Dr. Prax, that it incorporates a disclaimer that to what extent it will cover. So we have already mentioned that it will not have the fine superiority as what in-person consultation. So at the earliest possible, you go for a in-person consultation at least once, and there would be obvious limitations that we are not able to do palpation, percussion, auscultation. So with this limitation, we are giving the prescription. So it is 99% legally proof. Now somebody wants to go against you in various consumer forums and criminal forums. I mean, that can occur anytime, anywhere in this democratic setup that can occur. Point is, you will be able to easily defend it with our backing, with the format which Dr. Prax has given, and whatever the legal precautions have been well implemented and taken. I think we have gone once, ज्याला आपण म्हणतो ना, दुधाने ताक तोंड पोळलं तर ताक सुद्धा फुंकून पितात. त्याच्या पलीकडे आणखीन मी तर म्हणेन आईस्क्रीम सुद्धा फुंकून पेलेले आहे या डॉक्टर प्रॅक्स ॲपरेटिस मध्ये. इतकी त्या पद्धतीने काळजी घेतलेली आहे. So I think my initial comments are more than enough. I have taken more time, and I can assure you Baner is a very progressive area which is laden with all techno-savvy people. All around there are all e-companies and technical companies, and therefore doctors over there are also techno-savvy, and there should not be any hassle or any inhibition in your mind using this Dr. Prax. That much assurance I can give you on behalf of all this. Thank you very much for a patient listening. I am welcoming Dr. Umarji, seeing you after a long time. Dr. Balke also.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. That was definitely very, very helpful. I'm sure everybody will appreciate the guidelines that you have laid down. They were very comprehensive and well set up. With that, I would like to invite Dr. Dilip Balke. Dr. Dilip Balke is again a very well-known figure in the Baner Pasharnaund area. He's a founder of MediPoint, and many doctors reach out to Dr. Balke for any medico-legal support and advice. With that, Dr. Balke, would you be sharing your screen?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, sir.
Can you see my screen now?
No, not yet, sir. We can't see your screen. Yeah, it's coming up.
Now it's up.
Yes, sir.
Fine. So first of all, can you hear me and see me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yes, sir, we can.
So, first of all, I must thank the team of Dr. Prax, basically because you put me in nostalgia, actually. Rajesh is there, sitting there. So Rajesh knows how many times we have met in Hotel Mahabaleshwar and Hotel Green Park. And then the Green Park was not looking the way it is looking today. एक टपरी होती पूर्वी ग्रीन पार्क मध्ये, पण आपल्या किती पार्ट्या झाल्या तिथे राजेशला आठवत असेल. The newcomers in Baner Medical Association may not be knowing, and they may not even know that the only connection between Aund and Baner those days was a small nala which was there in front of Mahabaleshwar Hotel. And at many times पाऊस खूप पडला की बाणेर आणि औंध कट ऑफ व्हायचं. तर मी किती वेळा आपल्या गारुडकरांच्या हॉस्पिटलमध्ये राहिलोय मला माहिती, ओव्हरनाईट. And overnight राहिलो की पण पार्ट्या व्हायच्या त्यावेळेला. So those days, thanks Dr. Prax for all the nostalgia, and that Sadanand Hotel, Rajesh, you must be remembering so many our clinical meetings of Aund Medical Group we had there. So we both are founders. I founded the Aund Medical Group so many years back, and now you are the young dynamic person who has founded the Baner Medical Association. So Vinita, you made me nostalgic about my relationship with the doctors in Baner and Aund. So thank you very much for that. So let me start with a disclaimer that though I am on the advisory board and I am also an investor in Dr. Prax, my talk today will not be about marketing Dr. Prax at all, because now today I'm going to be on your side, on the side of the doctors, and I'm going to look at the private platform providers from the point of view of the doctors. I'm taking advantage of my journey of 2 years as an advisor and as an investor in Dr. Prax. Let us all try to understand. Dr. Naurange told us that all the people in Baner are tech savvy, but let us be now smart. I mean, we should be tech savvy, but we should be even smart. when we are using a telemedicine app and when we are choosing a private platform provider. So whenever now somebody says that there's going to be a talk on telemedicine, the immediate reaction is nahi, abhi nahi, because there have been so many talks by so many associations on telemedicine कि अभी हम लोग तंग आ गए to an extent कि ये सुन के कान पक गए that it is allowed, and later on there's going to be an online certification course that now we can charge, that there are specific guidelines for audio, video, text, and first and follow-up consultation, that record keeping is mandatory, that private platform providers recognize, and that there are 4 categories of drug. And was very well explained to you in a very short time by Dr. Naurange. So we all know that, and we have to go now one step further. But before we go one step further, I need to take a little time on the 4 categories of drug. So whenever there are presentations, people come and tell you about के 4 category है drug चा. एक list O, which is all about the OTC drugs. किंवा any of the public health drug where the public health authorities tell us की तुम्हाला हे drugs द्यायला पाहिजे. मलेरिया आहे, क्लोरोक्विन द्या. किंवा HCQ द्या. एखाद्या वेळेला आता आपल्याला सुरू होईल कोरोनामध्ये. So all these come under list O. List A are the first consultation drugs, which are first video consultation drug, which can be prescribed by a dermatologist, by an ophthalmologist, or by an ENT surgeon. Though it is allowed, Dr. Navrange will accept that it should not be done as far as possible. At least you must have seen the patient for once at least before doing it, because it is very difficult to make out what the person is suffering from only on a video. Then they talk about all the follow-up refill drugs, which are hypertensive drugs, anti-diabetic, anti-asthmatic. And list B are the add-on drugs. Already तुम्ही काहीतरी treatment चालू है, even then you got a report of an antibiotic sensitivity and you are putting starting an antibiotic and things like that. Already you have given a prescription and you are adding drugs. And as Dr. Naurengil told us about the antipsychotic drugs and the narcotic drugs, that those drugs are prohibited totally. But what you need to understand that this particular list is not exhaustive. जे काही आपल्याला टेलिमेडिसिन प्रॅक्टिस गाईडलाईन मध्ये दिलंय तेवढेच लिहायचे असं नाहीये. मेनी टाइम्स इन द वेबिनार पीपल टेंड टू आस्क क्वेश्चन, अरे अँटीबायोटिक लिहू शकतो का, अरे हे लिहू शकतो का, अरे ते लिहू शकतो का. येस, all these things need to be discussed, and the board of governors will take all our inputs and they'll keep on updating the drug. So the list that is told in the telemedicine practice guidelines is not a final exhaustive list. This list is going to get updated, and ultimately you will realize, as Dr. Naurange said, you will have to remember only which are prohibited. Everything else is going to be allowed now to be prescribed on the telemedicine practice guideline. And second thing you have to understand that this telemedicine is allowed not just in pandemic. It is even after the pandemic gets over, this telemedicine is going to be allowed. So it has come to stay forever. Now you are going to be allowed to practice telemedicine. Now, having known that, my agenda today for my talk is 3 things. One is, first of all, let's find out, do we really need a private platform provider? आपल्याकडे आपला टेलिफोन आहे, आपल्याकडे आपला मोबाईल आहे, आपल्याकडे आपला व्हॉट्सअप आहे, आपला ईमेल आहे, तेवढं वापरून आपण टेलिमेडिसिन करू शकतो की नाही? So this is the question. आपल्याला खरंच प्रायव्हेट प्लॅटफॉर्म प्रोव्हायडरची गरज आहे का? नंबर 1. नंबर 2, what do the board of governor MCI expect from a private platform provider? हा सेकंड क्वेश्चन आपण घेऊया. And नंतर we will talk a little more on what we should expect from the private platform provider. So let's spend some time on this. The first thing is the need. आपल्याला telemedicine practice guidelines say that you have to maintain the documents of the log of all whatever phone calls you made, of the log of whatever telemedicine consultation you did, or whatever video calls, whatever audio calls, whatever documents, whatever prescriptions you wrote, याच्या सगळ्याचा document आपल्याला maintain करायला लागतं. Can you do that on a WhatsApp? It is very difficult. Secondly, they say prescription has to be in a specific format. आपल्याला व्हॉट्सअपवर हा फॉर्मॅट तयार करता येईल का? नो. Then they say you're allowed to charge. Number 1, it is very embarrassing. आपण व्हॉट्सअपवर किंवा टेलिफोनवर ऍडवाइस दिला, टेलिफोनचा ऍडवाइस संपल्यानंतर आपण असं म्हणू शकतो का, भाई आता मी तुला ऍडवाइस दिला, माझे 500 रुपये पाठव, आणि कुठे पाठवायचे? So that again becomes a problem. It is very embarrassing and it is not possible on a WhatsApp. And the fourth important thing is confidentiality and privacy is now has been put in as a responsibility of the doctor. And social media were like a WhatsApp, yachavarti whatever consultation we do, it is not leak proof. It can become public anytime. So this is the challenge of using your own mobile and your own WhatsApp for telemedicine. That's the reason why we need a private platform provider, number 1, for maintenance of payment transfers and for data privacy. Having said that, are private platform providers governed by any authority? That you have to understand that the board of governor of the telemedicine practice guideline, they tell 3-4 things to the private platform provider. Number one, they say ensure the name, qualification, registration number, and other details of the registered medical practitioner. And now the registered medical practitioner is not only allopaths, even it is allowed for Ayurvedic doctors and for homeopathic doctors also. So it is allowed now. We are not just talking about allopaths here. So they are talking about ensuring the name, qualification, registration number, and address of the RMP. They say that if there is any complaint, report the complaint against the RMP. They say artificial intelligence is not allowed, and it is only the RMP who can do a consultation. They say that you have to ensure a mechanism of redressal in case there is any grievance against the RMP, which means you will realize that the Board of Governor NCI is only talking about governing us doctors. They are not, and they cannot govern this private platform providers. And that's the reason why, I mean, there is not even a legislation which is governing the private platform providers. And that's the reason why I feel that we have to deal with the private platform providers very carefully, and you should be going with an ethical private platform provider like a Dr. Prax and insist on proper services. So the next part is then what should we expect from a private platform provider? The first requirement is ease. It should be both an Android and an iPhone based app, and it should be easy to use even for a 60-year-old like me. It should be easy to use even for a not so techno savvy doctor like me. So it should be very, very easy and user friendly to an extent that we should not be forced to take help of our student, of our children to tell us, अरे कसं करायचं. आता आपल्याला काही अडलं, नवरंगे सर विल बी विथ मी, आपल्याला काही अडलं तर आपण कोणाला विचारतो? आपल्या मुलांना विचारतो, अरे हे कसं करायचं. पण तसं नसायला पाहिजे. It should be very, very easy for all of us to use. Point number 2, it should not be restricted to only teleconsultation. It should support our OPD practice too, which means our appointments, our queuing, our bill generation, simple EMR. It has to be nothing complicated. So what I feel is it should be a complete relationship model, which is app based, which is also website based, which is useful for OPD also, and then it is useful for teleconsultation also. We started off making it a teleconsultation app, and then we added OPD consultation. We also added website. So that's how we have graduated in our Dr. Prax app. So that's how it should be. It should support all. It cannot be supporting only audio, only video, only chat. It should support everything: audio, video, chat, and the patient should be able to transfer all the health related document through the private platform. So that is, it has to be a complete model. It should take care of confidentiality and privacy. This is very, very, very vital. And if you come across a private platform provider which is not taking care of confidentiality or privacy, just be away from that private platform provider. And what do you mean by, how is it that the private platform provider will keep the confidentiality? The data that is generated should be in an encrypted form. Decoding of this encrypted data has to be with few people in the private platform. It has to be with you and the patient. That's number one. But whatever encrypted form data is there, if it has to be retrieved, then only few members from the private platform provider team should be able to do that decoding. And these members should be guided by a non-disclosure agreement between you and the private platform provider, and they should have their own server or cloud space for data storage. So this kind of a care, if the private platform provider is taking, because confidentiality and privacy is going to be a very big issue, and the responsibility is going to be totally on us. Even the new Consumer Forum, CPA Act of 2019 puts that responsibility of confidentiality and privacy of our patients onto the doctors. So we have to be very careful and see that the platform provider is taking care of that. It should not be seen to be soliciting patients for us, because soliciting patient as per the MCI Code of Ethics is not allowed. And it is only we who are governed by the MCI Code of Ethics. They are not governed by the MCI Code of Ethics. त्यामुळे some private platform providers will come to you and say, अरे सर तुमचं नाव आपण या वेबसाईट वरती एकदम वर टाकू, तुम्ही 50,000 रुपये द्या, you will get many patients. All this is not allowed. So be away from any private platform provider who's telling you that we will help you to solicit patient. Whatever soliciting patient has to be done, it has to be done in a very subtle manner, and it should be seen as if you are not going overboard trying to solicit patients from the website. Confirm certain essentials that in the services. Number one, doctor's photo ID. Dr. Navrange was telling us that these are the things that Dr. Prax has taken care of. Doctor's photo ID, doctor's registration number, patient's photo ID, disclaimers and consent at the time of first login itself, whatever Dr. Navrange told us, all those disclaimers which Dr. Navrange has designed for us, and he's drafted those consents for us, which takes care नॉट ओनली म्हणजे ताकच नाही फुंकून पित, पण आपण आता आईस्क्रीम सुद्धा फुंकून पिणार आहे असं डॉक्टर नवरंगे सर म्हणाले. सो दॅट इज व्हॉट इज ही मेंट बाय द डिस्क्लेमर्स अँड द कन्सेंट्स. रेडीमेड टेम्पलेट्स ऑफ प्रिस्क्रिप्शन. आणि नुसतं रेडीमेड टेम्पलेट ऑफ प्रिस्क्रिप्शन इज व्हॉट द टेलिमेडिसिन प्रॅक्टिस गाईडलाईन टोल्ड अस. अँड we added on to it. We said that authentication of this prescription can be done with a signature, doctor's signature and stamp. So we have added that into it. Easy payment gateway. Now when you talk about easy payment gateway, आपण समजा एखादी पेशंट सकाळी पाहिली आणि त्याच्यानंतर संध्याकाळी ते आपल्याशी कन्सल्टेशन करते ऑन द टेलिमेडिसिन ऍप, अँड वी फील की आपल्याला हिला चार्ज करायचं नाही, तर त्या टेलिमेडिसिन प्रॅक्टिस गाईडलाईन प्रायव्हेट प्लॅटफॉर्म प्रोव्हायडरवर झिरो चार्ज करायची पण आपल्याला सोय असायला पाहिजे. अँड दॅट्स एक्झॅक्टली व्हॉट इज देअर इन डॉक्टर प्रॅक्स, that we can charge zero consultation also for whatever chat we did, for whatever video consultation we did, and even you can generate a prescription on zero charges. So this is what, because this app has been advised to by doctors, so this provision has been made in this particular Dr. Prax platform. Now you have to ask them whether they have any add-ons like a medico-legal advice. Here there are two people already there on the platform, Dr. Naurangi, and many more are going to join. So you can get all your medico-legal advices also through the platform. E-consent. Supposing you're going to do a surgery day after tomorrow or tomorrow, you can send your consent form through the app to the patient. The patient can sign that consent form, give a biometric signature, so that you will have two consents. One is on an e-consent, and second is what you take in the hospital. So that can be done. And before taking the consent, you can pass on patient information document. Supposing मी आता hysterectomy करणार आहे परवा, तर आज मी हिस्टेक्टमीचे सगळे इन्फॉर्मेशन डॉक्युमेंट पेशंटला पाठवू शकतो. पेशंट कॅन रीड दोज डॉक्युमेंट अँड कॅन गिव्ह मी अन ई कन्सेंट that I have read the documents and I give consent for the hysterectomy. So these are the things, because we are medico-legal people, we are trying to do this, and that is all going to be incorporated in the act. And also good practice guidelines. I mean, Foxy has got some good practice clinical guidelines. So those can be there on the app. So at one click of the button, your clinical practice becomes easier and easier. So you have to ask about that. Parantu, like typical doctors, we demand all this. And in addition, like a typical doctor, we expect it to be free of charge. आपल्याला काय वाटतं, फुकट द्या आम्हाला हे सगळं ऍप. But let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there are no free lunches in this world. Everything has got a cost. And if the cost, if you try to find out, या प्रायव्हेट प्लॅटफॉर्म प्रोव्हायडर्स ना कुठे कुठे खर्च आहे. Number one, development of software, costly affair. Then staff and office expense, monthly expense. पेमेंट टू द गेटवे, मनी जेव्हा ट्रान्सफर होतो तेव्हा 5% 10% काहीतरी आपल्याला पेमेंट गेटवे जे प्रोव्हायडर्स आहे, सर्व्हिस प्रोव्हायडर्स आहे, त्यांना द्यायला लागतो. सो देर इज ऑलवेज अ कॉस्ट इन्व्हॉल्ड इन इट. तर मग हे देर आर सम प्रायव्हेट प्लॅटफॉर्म प्रोव्हायडर्स हू कम टू यू अँड दे से की आम्ही तुम्हाला फ्री ऑफ चार्ज देतो. तर हाऊ कॅन दे अफोर्ड इट? तर नंबर वन, देर आर टू वेज इन विच दे कॅन डू इट. नंबर वन, दे कॅन से आपण लेट अस कव्हर द एक्सपेन्सेस अंडर कॅपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर. आधीच आपण 1 कोटी आपण या बिझनेसमध्ये टाकू, पण हे किती दिवस टिकणार? 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. Secondly, the charges that they charge the doctor. Say they take 10% transaction fee from the patient, or maybe some people take 0 to 5% transaction fee from the doctor. आणि या पैशात आपण आपला बिझनेस चालवू. Let me assure you that this does not give an enough cash flow. So there has to be a sustainable model. And what is the sustainable model that they think of? Two things. One is a financial tie-up with pharmaceutical companies, and second is data sale. Let's try to find out how the pharma tie-up work. Model number one is they do a financial deal with the pharma company. The company gets some upfront money from the pharma company. So त्यांना 1 कोटी 2 कोटी रुपये मिळालेले आहेत already, and they give this app free of charge to the doctor. Now, doctors have to beware that this can be seen as a gift from the pharma, which the MCI may not like it. So you will be contravening the code of ethics of the MCI if you get that app free of charge, because that app has got some cost, so which you have got free of charge from the pharma. तर ह्याच्यामध्ये आपल्याला प्रॉब्लेम येऊ शकतो. So what is the other model that they work? They do the similar deal from the pharma and they tie up with organizations like a Foxy, like an IMA and things like that. And now this organization gives this app free to the member. आता हे कोणीतरी स्मार्ट लॉयरने त्यांना समजावून सांगितलंय, because MCI has got no statutory jurisdiction on the organization and the pharma company. They have only statutory jurisdiction on the doctor. त्यामुळे डॉक्टर्सकडे त्यांनी गेले तर डॉक्टर्स काय म्हणणार, आम्हाला आमच्या ऑर्गनायझेशननी फ्री दिलं आणि ऑर्गनायझेशन म्हणून आपण काही गोष्ट फ्री घेऊ शकतो. So this is the loophole that the private platform providers are found out by contracting the pharma. But this still can be seen as soliciting practice. And let me assure you, I am in touch with many of the policy makers when it comes to telemedicine private platform providers. And the legislation, telemedicine legislation is in pipeline. And very few, maybe 6-7 months from now, even the private platform providers will be governed by some statute. And when they will be governed by this statute, this particular arrangement that they are doing with the private, with the pharma, may be seen as an unethical practice. So be aware of even this kind of a tie-up. So what is the second trick of the trade? What they do is, this is a big business actually. Data sale is a big business because these days policy making and research activity is done on all the data that they gather from the doctor. So if we give this data of whatever that has happened between you and the patient, with keeping the anonymity of the name of the patient and with a proper consent from the patient, this can be done, and this becomes a financially viable and a sustainable model wherein, I mean, many of the people then argue that whether this is legal or not. This can be argued to be legal because we have taken a consent, we have taken an assurance of anonymity, and even the government of India is planning to create a homogeneous data transfer mechanism. त्यांनी जितके म्हणून प्रायव्हेट प्लॅटफॉर्म प्रोव्हायडर आहे त्यांचा सगळा डेटा एका कॉमन सर्व्हरमध्ये जाईल, and that will be available to the government, and government will be able to do all the healthcare policies of the country, taking care with the help of the data that is coming in. So data sale is going to be one game changer when it comes to making use of this private platforms for telemedicine consultation. So to conclude, let us choose our private platform provider carefully. Do not compromise on service just because it may be given free to us, and let us be seen to be ethical in our arrangement. And before I sign off, I will wish to take advantage of this talk to give one more advice to all the members of the Baner Medical Association. I can take the advantage of the age on my side. I'm 60-year-old. Rajesh, you are still younger to me, so I can give you this as an advice. So if it plays, I hope this video plays. The advice is in form of a video, so I don't think it will be a big deal. I think, oh yeah, it's playing. So can you see the?
Yes, sir. We can see the video.
So exactly as the video shows us that whenever we are in practice, at least in Aund, Baner, Pashan, we should not as doctors pass comment about other doctors, because if we do that, the same thing will come back to you. So let's have a very healthy practice in Baner, Aund, Pashan area where we will not pass comments about the other doctors, and then maybe it will be wonderful to do practice in this area. Thank you very much for all a patient hearing. And thanks, Rajesh, for inviting me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Walke. Again, a very informative session. I'm sure all the doctors are going to appreciate the inputs provided by you. I'll continue with our with sharing some details about Dr. Prax, and then we'll have a short video on how to use Dr. Prax. Just give me a couple of minutes. So what does Dr. Prax provide doctors? Dr. Prax is a continuous engagement platform, and it allows for doctors, we have a web and a mobile interface. The mobile interface is again available on iPhones as well as Android devices. And through this interface, as well as through our web interface, doctors can write smart prescriptions, and I'll give you a short demo on how to go about that. Accept digital payments. They can provide consultations via audio, video, or chat. They can consult with patients worldwide. So we have doctors consulting with patients in Europe, America, South Africa, Australia. So there's a worldwide patient reach that is available for doctors. We have an interesting formulary buildup that happens as you continue using the app, and I'll give you a demo about that. And as Dr. Walke mentioned, patient information leaflets to educate your patients, which are in very, very easy English, 5th grade English format, are available for you to share. And those are available by specialty. And we also have doctor templates. If there are common messages or common consents that you're sending your patients, you can develop templates and send those to your patients through the Dr. Prax application. We also have for your OPD or your clinic, we have an app for your assistants. It's called Dr. Assist. Again, that is available via the web and the mobile interface. With this, your receptionists or your assistants can manage the patient queues and also, create appointments for your patients as and when they need them. For patients, again, patients can take appointments, they can share their health records, receive consultations, and make safe payments. So all this is available through Dr. Prax. We'll quickly go through a short demo of the application. I'll play this video.
Hello doctors, welcome to Dr. Prax. Dr. Prax has been created by doctors for doctors with primary focus on medico-legal safety, patient privacy, and data security. Once you register onto Dr. Prax and enter your personal and professional details, you will land on the Explore page. The Explore page gives you additional information on how to get started with Dr. Prax and how to use Dr. Prax for all your consultations. If you need additional help, you can access our YouTube and Facebook links on the top of this page. The My Chat icon at the bottom of the page takes you to all consultation requests from patients. When you first register, this page will be empty. You can invite your patients to start consultations with you. On the top right-hand corner is a clipboard which allows you to copy a message that you can send your patients via SMS or WhatsApp. We also have Dr. Prax support that you can click if you need additional help regarding the application. Our support team will reach out to you either via chat or will call you if you need help. They will also be happy to visit you if you need additional help regarding usage or setup of this application. Clicking on a particular patient will take you to the messages received from this patient. On the top right-hand corner is an eye icon. This gives you information about the patient's health profile, as well as access to prescription and reports that the patient would have shared with you. In addition, you can also see clinical notes that you and other doctors would have made regarding this patient. You're now ready to provide a consultation for this patient. At the bottom of the page, there is a plus icon. This allows you to write medical advice or a prescription, send a templatized message, or audio or video messages that you need to send to the patient. Clicking on RX allows you to write a new prescription. You can either write a new prescription, edit an old prescription, or take a photo of a prescription written on your prescription pad. You can also change the default consultation charges for the patient. You can either make them 0 or any other amount that you wish to charge the patient. When you click on Write Prescription, you can enter the symptoms, your diagnosis, and write medicines. An inbuilt formulary gets created as and when you start writing medicines for your patients. This allows you to create future prescriptions at a much faster rate. Our objective is to enable you to write a prescription in less than 20 seconds. You can then sign a prescription, and it is now ready to send to your patient in an MCI approved format. On confirmation, the prescription is sent to your patient, which the patient can only open after they have paid the fees requested by you. On the top right-hand corner, there is a phone icon. This allows you to call your patient if you wish to do so. The call is made through a masked number, which has been done to ensure your phone number stays private and is not shared with the patient. If you wish to charge the patient for a chat consultation, you can click on the rupee icon and decide the amount that you want to charge the patient. Once a consultation for charge, a chat charge is levied to the patient cannot send you any messages until they've made that payment. Moving on, you can add schedules for in-person or clinic appointments, or for phone and video consultations through the app. For phone and video consultation appointments, patients are expected to first make a payment before they book the appointment. You can manage your schedule and cancel any schedules if you wish to do so. If you're going to be busy for a day or for a series of days, you can block your calendar, and all appointments for those days will be cancelled and cancellation notices sent to your patients. You can also access all your appointments through the My Appointments tab. With the listing of the appointments, you can either join the video consultation with the said patient and make an audio call to the patient for an audio consultation, or check in the patient when the patient walks in your clinic. The call log icon at the bottom of the page allows you to access phone call logs of all audio and video consultations. This has been provided for additional medico-legal safety and is only available to doctors. With this, I conclude my demo of the Dr. Prax app. There are a lot of other features, useful features that are available for doctors when you start using the app. So I encourage you to register, log in, and actively use the application. I'm sure you will find it very useful for all your online and your in-clinic consultations. I hope you enjoyed the application. Thank you for your patient listening. Thank you, doctors. So that was the demo. Quickly, want to kind of walk through the benefits that are available because of using of the application. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So definitely the benefits for the patient are they're able to access their doctors in less than 5 minutes from anywhere, anytime. The doctor accessibility is beyond, in the clinic, it's just 5 minutes, but in this case, they can reach out to the doctor for a longer time, anytime during the day. there is more engagement with the doctor, which creates a trust and a long-term relationship with the doctor. And of course, they're able to save their travel costs. Typically, for every visit, they need to spend a couple of hours, wait at your clinic, and of course, spend for the travel to the clinic. For a doctor, it enables, Dr. Prax allows you to set up a digital practice, which is very lightweight and easy to use, which allows both in-OPD setup as well as online consultation. We have definitely seen an improvement in patient retention because the patient builds a connection with you, not just in the clinic, but also beyond. And our doctors have been able to obviously monetize their time outside their clinic by providing consultations and increase incomes by greater than 2 lakhs per year. And I think that's a conservative estimate. We have doctors generating transactions of greater than 75 to 80,000 per month on a regular basis. The other benefits that we have are, as you saw, it's a very, very simple user interface. It's very easy to use. We have taken utmost care on ensuring medico-legal safety. We maintain patient privacy. It is very important for us. And if you need data on the platform associated with your patients, we can provide that. If you need to do any research activities, we can collate all the information regarding your consultations and provide that to you. And of course, we have a rich panel of medico-legal experts, Dr. Naurange, Dr. Walke, who will be available to guide you through the platform. We're proud to say we are an IMA-approved medico-legally safe platform, and we would be very happy if you can, leverage these benefits that are available. So, in addition, I also want to bring light to the Dr. Prax Doctor Success team. This ensures that every doctor is able to use the platform very easily. We have a very strong support team on board that can guide you, and they are, if you need any help or your patients need help, they have been very, very responsive in helping doctors onboard patients, or if there are any payments, patients are struggling, we help them with that, or any technical support that you need, it will be available through the Dr. Prax Doctor Success team, as we call them. So with this, I want to conclude the demo and discussion related to Dr. Prax. And I would quickly move on to the Q&A session.
Before that, Vinita, before that, I know Vinita is the kind of person who doesn't praise herself, but I must here put on record that Vinita is a recipient of she's one of the 20 recipients of the award for female entrepreneurs for this particular startup. There is an organization called Startup India, which is a government of India organization. And for this work that she has done in Dr. Prax, she has received an award. So that tells you about the kind of efforts that Vinita has taken and the kind of effort that the team has taken to make this Dr. Prax an app, which is recognized even by the government of India. And we have received laurels for that. So that's what is Vinita all about for you.
Congrats.
Great.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I'll quickly move on to the Q&A also, so that we can get responses. There are a lot of people that have been asking questions, and we'll quickly move on to the Q&A. And the first question, before I was kind of taken aback, a little bit surprised, but thank you, sir. And I think there is a lot of collective effort in being able to receive that award or achievement. There has been extensive guidance from you from day one. So I'm very, very thankful to that. Of course, Dr. Naurange has been like a stalwart and has been a guiding father figure for Dr. Prax. So without all the support from you, from Dr. Naurange, Dr. Chittake, and the entire Dr. Prax team, we wouldn't be where we are. So thank you very much. And I'm deeply indebted to all of you. And the award is not mine alone. It is for the entire Dr. Prax team. So with that, I would just like to kind of move to the Q&A section. There is a question. The first question is, what is the maximum time of repeated teleconsultation in chronic diseases like asthma, DM, and HTN? So Dr. Jayant Naurange has responded to that. Sir, do you want to respond, or can I read your response?
Yeah, you can read on. Yeah.
Yeah. So sir has responded, there is no time limit mentioned, but by and large, general consensus in medicine backed by law is 3 months. You may extend to 6 months, better 3 or 4 months. Okay. The second question is, doctor working in government medical college receiving non-practice allowance is legally is he legally allowed to practice telemedicine? And the next question is it possible to perform anesthesia checkup, PAC, one night before surgery via digital platform with PAC filled by junior doctor physically attending the patient? So the first question is answered by Dr. Naurange regarding NPA. If he is getting NPA, he can give tele-advice or consult free only and cannot charge. Okay. Sir, the second question regarding anesthesia checkup, PAC, do you have a response for that? I can't see that, so I just...
Yeah, I have given the response over there.
Okay, I must have missed it.
You can just read on. If not, I can answer this.
Okay, if the junior is doing residency and he is reporting to you, yes, but always have physical exam before taking up for surgery. However, I feel question of teleconsult does not arise in hospital setup. Patient and doctor both have to be in hospital. So yeah, I missed out. It was below.
Yeah,
And
sir, this particular question must have come from those anesthetists who are attached to hospitals, and maybe they see the patient only on the day of the surgery. And my wife is one of them. She is also practicing in this area. And this was the question that she asked me also, because what they do is they're resident doctors of the hospital. They call them a night prior. They tell them about everything about the patient, and next day they go and just examine the patient, and the anesthesia is given. So yes, our app can be used for that. We can develop a template of questions that the resident is supposed to ask, and that on the app, the patient can give all the answers. So all your history taking part of the pre-anesthesia checkup will be done on a telemedicine, but that does not say that you cannot need not examine the patient and straight away go the next day. Nobody will do that. No anesthetist will do that. So as you said, it is very important that on the day of the surgery, a day prior, 1 hour, 2 hours prior to the actually when you gave anesthesia, you should be examining the patient also. But yes, history taking part of it can definitely be done. And after having taken the history, if you want to advise some investigation, say you want an echocardiography there, then that can be done on telemedicine, and you can charge for it. But because what has been happening now, the anesthetists give all the advice of what investigations are to be done before the surgery tomorrow, and they don't get paid for it at all. So that can be done. They can be paid for this consultation also.
Actually, I would say here that Dr. Prax can incorporate a questionnaire which is very nicely prepared by Anesthesia Association regarding the pre-anesthesia checkup questions in the history taking. So that's a very good one, and even Lokavidyan has it in Marathi also. So that can be incorporated very nicely in the app itself. It will be an asset.
Sure, sir. Thank you. I think we'll definitely take that up as a point and see how we can add it to the application. It's a good suggestion, so we'll put it down. Okay. Moving on to the next question. I'm doing telemedicine since last 3 months. Many times patient demand about tablet Restly. What is your opinion? Should I prescribe for my old patient having insomnia and anxiety? So Dr. Jayant Naurange has responded. He says, it's a tricky question. You can, if it's a top-up prescription, give limited supply only.
Yeah, this is, I'm answering from my personal experience, because those who are taking Restil, more than a month or so, actually they become addicted, I suppose. Whether it is technically, strictly speaking, addiction or not, I don't know. Dr. Umarji will be able to answer.
Yeah, there is
But
something called as an
afterwards,
alprazolam. Addiction is there, sir. I mean, it's a big
it is
thing.
there.
Yeah.
So what happens is that they insist so much that without the use of this drug, they become really panicky. They can't go to sleep at all. And this is particularly so in otherwise a very old patient and a sinking health. And we feel that even the sleep induced by alprazolam should be useful to them. So it's a very tricky question. In good faith, if we are prescribing, I think it taken strictly speaking, no, it is not allowed then. If it is an addictive drug, it will not be allowed by telemedicine.
So this.
But what else can you do if that is the only question remaining for the treatment of that patient?
So this exactly the same topic of Restil was discussed in one of the national convention where the policymakers were there, and then it all boiled down to what prescriptions we are giving on a app. Ultimately, they can take a screenshot, and even if you prescribe 10 tablets of Restil, they can take a screenshot, go to 10 pharmacy people, and they can get, instead of 10 tablets, they can get 100 tablets also. So this was discussed, and one solution I suggested was, can there not be a barcode on the prescription, and this barcode can be generated even on our telemedicine app? So this is what the government policymakers are thinking now. So all the apps will be provided with all the private platform providers will be provided with a barcode. The patient goes to a pharmacy shop with that barcode. The barcode is read, and if those 10 tablets have been given, then if the patient goes with the same barcode to some other shop, they will get a signal that the 10 tablets have already been issued, and then they will not get that. So this is what happens when you talk with the policy makers. You should be always involving them rather than finding faults in the telemedicine practice guide. They are very receptive, let me tell you that. Those policy makers were very receptive on that national convention, and when this particular suggestion was given, they welcomed it and they said we will think about it. And now a day is going to come that there'll be a barcode on every prescription that we write, whether it's an in-person consultation or whether it's a consultation done on telemedicine. So there are ways out. I mean, these questions, thank you very much for the participant who asked this question, because only when such questions are asked and then we discuss and then we go to the national convention, when people like Dr. Navarange many a times talk with the policy makers, and there such things can be discussed.
So for the time being, the answer to this is that you cannot prescribe on telemedicine, right?
Yeah. So at the moment, yes, we have to be careful about it. And those psychiatric drugs and these kind of drugs, we have to be very careful about. Ask the patient to come over and give a prescription.
Yes.
And I think even otherwise, Dr. Walke has been very insistent from day one when we created the prescription. He told us to be careful that the prescription is not to be shared multiple times. So we have taken care in ensuring that a prescription cannot be downloaded multiple times, and we took special care for that. And now what we are doing is we are integrating with a leading with a leading online pharmacy, in which way we will allow the sharing of the prescription with that pharmacy once, so that it is fulfilled and it cannot be repeatedly used for prescriptions, for ordering medicines. We're trying to put more and more stricter processes in place so that this kind of misuse does not happen. But yes, this is something that Dr. Walke has been insistent, and we are trying to comply with.
And I think the psychiatrist, if the person who asked the question was a psychiatrist, I think the Psychiatry Association should do all their advocacy with this board of governors, because it is actually unfair that psychotropic drugs are not allowed to be prescribed on telemedicine, because these psychiatry patients are the ones who are chronically ill. They are the ones who cannot visit the doctor very often, and they are the ones who need to be given prescription on telemedicine also. So I think a lot of advocacy, and I don't understand the reason why psychotropic drugs are not allowed to be given on telemedicine. But if we take care of the prescription, that the prescription can be honored only once. If we take care of that technologically, then I think they will allow even psychotropic drugs.
I'll move on to the next question. If a patient is paying online to the doctor directly, is there any need of receipt for the same? The response is yes, you can issue the online receipt, or you can prepare at your desk physically. So That's the response from Dr. Naurange. Next, question 6 is platform is between doctor and patient. Patient will pay to private platform and not to doctor directly. Medico-legally challenging if anything goes wrong with doctor or patient also. Elaborate. So,
here the payment has been made through a platform but to the doctor. So even in the court of law, it will be seen as payment for the consultation. The fact that Dr. Prax is in between does not make any difference at all. It is, I mean, we make payment through Paytm also, we make payment through Google Pay also, but just because there is some platform in between does not mean that there is no relationship with the doctor and the patient. So it is still going to be considered as a payment made by the patient to the doctor for the consultation. Does that answer the question?
I think I also answered further that I had discussed the matter with the MMC chairman and also other members of the council, medical council, and they have given an affirmative that once you have entered into a written or electronic contract with any of the platforms, it is a service you are buying. It is a service you are using. It is only an intermediary platform. And you, as you rightly said, you have the GPay, you have card payment, debit card payments and all that. It is just a platform to transfer the money. It's a vehicle. It's a medium. So there is no question of somebody paying you for not working also. So we are buying the service and we are getting the patients are also buying the service. So it is perfectly legal.
Yes, thank you, sir. The next question is question number 7. Dr. Walke sir just talked about e-consent, but before few days, court denied pre-printed consent. Vinod Khanna versus BG Stone case.
It's a big thing. I mean, a lot of discussion is going on about that, and fortunately, let me tell you that the RG Stone Hospital is going in appeal in the Supreme Court. Yes, though privately, the judge who has given the judgment told us that he did not mean that. What he meant was that pre-printed consent forms are okay, but the name of the doctor should be there, the name of the patient should be there, what surgery is going to be there, performed should be there. There should be something which is surgery specific. It cannot be a general consent and things like that. Though he said that in private, but his judgment does not say so. So which means the judgment tells us that pre-printed consent forms are not allowed. Yes, it means that. So which means we need to appeal against it. So at this moment of time, the RG Stone, they have paid the 10 lakh rupees so that they can get a stay on this judgment. And then Foxy is going to intervene. I think IMA is also decided to intervene, and then we will fight it out and see to it that we get a judgment which is properly worded to mean, because everything, everywhere in the whole world, people have a pre-printed consent. Even the lawyers have a pre-printed wakalatnama. So that is not something that cannot be done in our country. So wait for a few days, it will come as a judgment. And secondly, even these aspects about people tend to have the feeling that consent in our country is supposed to be an informed consent. And when it becomes an informed consent, you're supposed to tell about everything. Tu mar bhi sakta hai, and you can have all these complications. So that the Samira Kohli versus Prabha Manchanda case that has come in the Supreme Court does not imply that our consents are needed to be informed consent. They are needed to be real consent, wherein you are talking about only substantial risk. And that yet to be substantial risk is yet to be defined, but we consider it as a risk which is possible to occur more than 10% of the time. So these things are coming up, and I think this particular thing is going to be challenged, and definitely e-consent also will be taken as valid, and we are taking an e-consent in addition to the consent that we are going to take in the hospital. So this will be an addition thing. We are even going to an extent of doing an e-consent in a different ways. Like supposing tomorrow, day after tomorrow, I'm going to do a hysterectomy. I will have a PowerPoint presentation on hysterectomy of maximum 10 minutes. And the patient is sitting in front of the laptop. There is a webcam and the patient is seeing that, and that can be produced in the court of law, that this particular information was given to the patient. And at the end of it, patient gives a biometric signature. If the patient is illiterate, then a staff nurse is sitting here and ती तिला विचारते की तुला ही पहिली स्लाइड समजली का, आता आपण दुसऱ्या स्लाइडला जाऊया का? She says yes, दुसऱ्या स्लाइडला जाऊया. And at the end of it, the patient gives a biometric signature. So we are even at Foxy level, we are trying to devise this kind of a consent, which will be an e-consent, which can be taken in any corner of our country. I mean, everybody has a laptop and it does not need an internet, and that laptop can take consents like that, and which we will be able to prove in the court of law that we had given a complete information about that particular surgery. After the PowerPoint presentation on hysterectomy, if there is anything specific about the patient, then instead of the sister, the doctor comes in and the doctor tells, I told you that your uterus is bulky. I told you that there are possibility of adhesions. I told you that there is a possibility of ureteric injury, and so on and so forth. Something which is specific to that patient, that can also be incorporated, and that will be captured as an e-consent, and a biometric signature can be given there. So these are the things that we are trying to do. It is all about being abundantly cautious about it.
Okay, thank you, sir. The next question is, why is the Dr. Prax app want access to photos, media, record audio, take pictures, and record video, and the files are device and access device location? So this is thank you for the question. Actually, this question is very relevant, and I'm glad I have an opportunity to answer this. Actually, the app requests access to your photos so that we can, if you need to upload your photograph as a part of your profile picture, it's available. If you need to upload any photographs, or the patient needs to upload any photographs to send the doctor, the application needs access to those photographs, and that's why this kind of request for access is posed right in the beginning. Similarly, we allow the app to share media files, videos, etc. from doctors to patients, or even patients to doctors. And if you offer this access right in the beginning, then the app is able to perform some of these functions very easily. If this is not available, then some of the functionality that is available in the app gets disrupted, and it is for your own benefit that Dr. Prax requests access to each of these files. From a location perspective, this again helps if a patient is trying to find doctors in a particular location, or there are certain patients in an area. If the patients need to find doctors, it'll be helpful for us to have that location information so that we are able to help our doctors and patients more easily. And that's why the access is requested. The next question is question number 8. I have come across government notification for teleconsultation of MCI and Homeopathic Council, but not yet by Ayush Ministry. Only guidelines available, but not government notification. Does Dr. Prax have this? Yes, we do have available guidelines from Ayush and notifications, and I can share the link with the telemedicine guidelines that have been published by CCIM. And thank you for sharing your email address. We will definitely send that across to you.
But I think the Ayush doctors will have to be a little careful about then prescribing medicines only related to their own branch, because this is a question that is often asked to all of us, Dr. Naurange also. So across pathy practice, if you're going to do on a telemedicine platform where everything is going to be recorded, so be a little careful about that.
Sir, as far as Maharashtra is concerned, they can go ahead. There is no problem.
So for Ayurvedic, there is no problem. For homeopathics,
there is no problem. For homeopathic, yes.
There is an issue. Yes. Yeah.
So Ayurvedic people can use all allopathic medicines.
I know I've got many friends there in Baner. Some of them are fantastic general practitioners with great clinical knowledge, and they have been using allopathic drugs much better than even the way I use it. I've got some ICU doctors who are Ayurvedic, and their knowledge about ICU practice is much more than even me. But then it is unfortunate that I mean, here we talk about holistic practice, and again, the law of our country is such that we don't allow cross prescriptions, because I feel I should be allowed to prescribe Ayurvedic medicine, and the Ayurvedic people should be allowed to prescribe some allopathic medicine. But I think that also will evolve one day in our country.
In almost 19 states in India, it's allowed. So I can make a blanket statement here. In Maharashtra, yes, they can definitely use all sorts of medicine. I mean, all allopathic medicines.
Does Karnataka allow it, sir? Big state.
Yes, Karnataka also. Andhra also.
So thank you, sir. Moving on to the next question. The question is about the DrPrax platform, and why is it DrPrax platform is IMA approved? What does that mean? So basically, the DrPrax team has been working very closely with IMA Pune. We have worked under the guidance of Dr. Jayant Navrange right from the beginning when we started developing the app. So from terms and conditions, consents, disclaimers, we have ensured that they all meet the required guidelines, and we have taken due care to protect the doctors that use our platform. After we had the platform ready, we have demonstrated and worked closely with the IMA team, shown them the platform, and they very much approved all the functionality, features, terms and conditions, disclaimers, consents, and all the care that we have taken in the app to ensure doctor as well as patient safety, and taken due care while building the platform. And they have approved the platform for use by doctors belonging to the IMA. And that's why we say that we are an IMA approved platform. And we have taken permission from the president of IMA and to use this as it being called as an IMA approved platform.
Can I add a little?
Yes, sir, please.
It's a major organization for more than 4,800 qualified doctors. And they formed a committee before approving this particular app. They went into the details, and as what you rightly said, presentation was done, and they approved in all respects. So this was a first step, and this will facilitate to get the approvals and accreditations from various other organizations. So that was the thing. To get an approval from government is next to impossible. So initially, unless few of the organizations come forward and approve this, the things will not move ahead. So we were the first one to go into the details of the scientific analysis of this particular platform and the safety towards the doctors as well as to the patients. And therefore, this is quite important that initial certification has occurred, so other associations can come forward and give the certification as well.
And I must put on record the efforts that Dr. Navrange has taken to get this particular platform approved. I must thank Dr. Navrange for his efforts for that. I mean, I can only understand how difficult it is in your committee to discuss things and get it passed. Dr. Navrange knows it. So he's made all the efforts, and he's convinced everyone that this app is one app which is fulfilling all the requirements. And this was done even before the telemedicine practice guidelines came. So this is something that we must appreciate. The Pune IMA, when we say about Pune IMA, I feel proud that Pune IMA is even proactive, more proactive than the central body. And that is all because of people like Dr. Navrange calling shots in the Pune IMA.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Umarji wanted to say something.
Is this approved by National IMA or sort of Pune IMA?
Pune IMA.
It's state-wise and national.
Yeah, that is the first step. That is the first step, yeah.
Yes, sir. And well said, Dr. Valke. Thank you. Definitely, we have to thank Dr. Navrange and the entire team that has stood behind us, not just in approving it, but also in all the guidelines and ensuring that we reach the point where it could be approved. So we are deeply in debt and grateful to the entire IMA team, and especially to Dr. Navrange. The last question is about Dr. Prax and the consultation fees. I think it is about Dr. Prax paying all consultation fees at the end of the month, and the advice is to park the money in a liquid mutual fund. Actually, there's a slight correction here. Dr. Prax does not pay the consultation fees at the end of the month. In fact, as soon as a consultation is done, all your fees are directly transferred to the doctor's account, and it is immediately credited to the account, and there is it is reflected in your account in maximum 2 days. And the delay is not on our side; it is from the payment gateway.
I think that was a mistake done by me. I was under the impression it is paid at the end of every month.
No, sir, it is transferred immediately.
Okay,
And,
then there is no problem.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So that is it. So thank you very much for a very informative session.
Vinita.
Thank you, Dr.
I wanted to ask one or two questions.
Yes, sir, please. Please, sir.
I wanted to ask that this consultation, teleconsultation, does not give a feel like a clinic consultation, where to which patients and doctors are also used for several years now. Now, of course, situation is extraordinary, and later on also if this continues. But whether doctors need to have some special skill sets so that they can impress the patients, or whether such training needs to be given.
So that will be ideal. That will be very ideal. But actually, this consultation can be done even on the go. So you're traveling from one point to other point in your car, and if you're of course careful enough, and you are concentrating on the patient's findings and history taking, you can go ahead with that also. So even on holidays, for example, I'm here in USA, I can do that. So these are the advantages. But if you have a back screen like that, and from behind you can have a clinic scene, it will be still more effective. I agree with you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
During this pandemic, we are already developing our skills of talking on platforms and through telephones and through such Zoom. So I think we are already developing that skill, sir.
Yes.
So these are some of the doctors on our platform. We also have Dr. Kavita Chaudhary, who has been using this platform, and we are deeply thankful to her.
She's one of the very active members of the BMA. So if Kavita is using it, I think most of the other members will also follow.
Yes, she has been very kind enough to give us a very nice comment. She mentions that it is very informative and helpful information. She's thanking Dr. Naurange, Dr. Valke, and our Dr. Prax team. Thank you very much, ma'am. Really appreciate your support. I have been using Dr. Prax since the lockdown. Very happy with their service. Thank you, ma'am. We hope we continue to serve you and keep you and other BMA doctors happy. We look forward to more doctors from BMA joining us. We also have a special offer for BMA doctors. For the next 15 days, we are offering the app completely free with no subscription charges for the next year. So we encourage all of you to take advantage of this offer and download the app. In fact, if you have any help, if you would like to download it now, it's available on the App Store and the Play Store. If you have any problems, feel free to reach out to us. Our team is very responsive and will help you right away in ensuring that you get the right support, not just while downloading and setting up the app, but also in helping your patients and you use the app seamlessly. So we look forward to you giving us the opportunity, and please avail the free offer. It is available for the next 15 days until 15th September. Thank you very much. I think that with this, we can conclude our session. Thank you very much, Dr. Deshpande, Dr. Umarji, for giving us the opportunity to present in front of the BMA Association. Thank you, Dr. Valke, Dr. Naurange, as always, being there and supporting us and guiding all the doctors in usage of teleconsultation. It has been, we are able to successfully have these sessions because of your support and guidance. So we look forward to all of you using the app. It's fairly late, it's almost 11 p.m., but everybody's been patient. Thank you so much. And Dr. Naurange, wish you a fantastic Sunday ahead. And
thank you.
Thank you for joining us from San Francisco and taking time away from your grandchild.
On behalf of BMA, I will like to thank Dr. Naurange sir and Dr. Valke sir for their fabulous lectures, very informative, very practical. Dr. Deshpande seems to have left.
Yes.
So on behalf of BMA, we really thank them a lot, and Dr. Prax also for Didita conducting the program nicely. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
Thank
very much.
you.
Thanks for the
Thank you
opportunity.
very much and good night.
Thank you. It was nice interacting with you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Dilip
Yeah,
and
thank you,
Pramod.
sir. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you all.